Have you ever looked at your grandkids and thought, how do they have so much energy? One minute they're bouncing off the walls, and the next they're asking you questions faster than you can answer them. It's amazing, and honestly, a little exhausting to keep up with. But here's the thing, those little brains of theirs, they're working overtime. Every day, they're learning, building, growing. And believe it or not, one of the biggest things shaping their development is food. Now, I know most of us didn't grow up thinking too much about nutrition, especially not for brain health. We ate what was on the table, and our parents did the best they could. But today, we know more. We know that certain foods can actually help children focus better, remember more, and even stay calmer. And if you're a parent, grandparent, or even just someone who wants to support the kids in your life, you've got more power than you think. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 simple foods that can supercharge brain development in children. And I don't mean some fancy, hard-to-pronounce things you have to hunt down at a specialty store. I mean real, everyday foods you can find at any grocery store or might already have in your kitchen right now. Foods that are easy to add into meals and snacks, without a lot of fuss. So let's start with one of the most powerful and surprisingly overlooked brain boosters out there, eggs. Yep, good old-fashioned eggs. Scrambled, boiled, fried, however you like them, they're packed with something called choline. You might not hear about it every day, but choline plays a huge role in helping the brain develop memory and communication skills. In fact, studies have shown that kids who get enough choline early in life tend to do better in school later on. And here's the good news, one large egg has about 150 milligrams of choline, which is a solid step toward their daily needs. Now, I know eggs have had a bit of a love-hate reputation over the years. First they were good, then they were bad, now they're good again. But we're not talking about eating a dozen a day. Just including an egg in breakfast a few times a week can make a real difference. And if you're watching cholesterol or want to mix it up, egg whites are still a great source of protein. One of the easiest ways to get eggs into a picky eater? Make it fun. Tiny egg muffins with veggies baked in, or little breakfast burritos they can help roll up themselves. Kids are way more likely to eat something if they feel like they were part of making it. Now, let's move on to something a little sweeter, berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, you name it. These colorful little fruits are bursting with antioxidants, which help protect young brains from stress and inflammation. Think of antioxidants like little shields for brain cells. And trust me, with all the stimulation kids are surrounded by these days, screens, noise, pressure from school, they need all the protection they can get. But what's really special about berries is how they help improve memory and attention. Researchers have found that children who eat berries regularly actually score better on memory tests. Pretty impressive for something that tastes like a treat. And berries are so easy to work into the day. Toss them into a smoothie, sprinkle them on oatmeal, freeze them for a cool snack in the summer. My granddaughter loves frozen blueberries, it's like nature's candy, and it keeps her quiet for a few minutes, which honestly feels like a miracle sometimes. You might be thinking, okay, eggs and berries, this all sounds good, but what if my grandkids are super picky? That's the beauty of these foods. They're flexible. You can hide them in pancakes, muffins, yogurt, you don't have to overhaul the whole meal. Just sneak in a little brain power wherever you can. And here's the thing I love about all this, you're not just feeding them. You're helping shape how they think, how they feel, and how they grow. Every little food choice adds up. You don't need to be a nutritionist or cook from scratch every day. You just need to care. And you do. That's why you're here. Let's keep going, because the next food on this list is something we grew up with, but probably never realized how powerful it really was for growing minds. So let's keep going, because the next food that deserves a spot on your grocery list is something that's probably been sitting in your pantry for years, oats. Yep, simple, hearty, humble oats. Maybe you already enjoy a warm bowl in the morning yourself, with a little cinnamon or fruit stirred in. But did you know that oats are one of the best foods you can give a child for steady brain energy? Think about how quickly kids burn through their fuel. 1 minute they're focused, the next they're completely zoned out or bouncing off the walls. Their brains are growing so fast, and they need a constant supply of healthy energy to keep up. That's where oats come in. Unlike sugary cereals that spike their blood sugar and then leave them crashing an hour later, oats provide slow, steady energy that keeps them focused longer, especially through those tough morning hours at school. What makes oats really special for brain health, though, is that they contain a mix of complex carbohydrates and a little bit of protein. That combination is gold for helping the brain stay alert. And if you add in some extras, like a handful of berries or a spoonful of peanut butter, you're layering in even more brain-boosting nutrients without much extra effort. Now, I know some kids turn their nose up at plain oatmeal. But there are so many ways to dress it up. You can make overnight oats with cinnamon and apples, bake oatmeal bars with a little honey, or even make oat pancakes for a weekend breakfast. One of my favorite things is to let the grandkids pick their own toppings. It turns breakfast into a little adventure, and suddenly they're eating oats without a single complaint. It's those little tweaks that make all the difference. And it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. You're not trying to build a perfect brain in one meal. You're building habits that support those little minds day after day, in the background, like sunlight and water for a growing plant. And speaking of growing plants, let's talk about something green, leafy greens, to be exact. Now, I know eat your greens is something we've all heard more times than we can count. But there's real power in those leafy vegetables, especially for the developing brain. Spinach, kale, collard greens, they're all packed with folate, vitamin K, and even iron, which are absolutely essential for brain development, especially in younger children. Folate helps form new brain cells. Vitamin K supports brain structure and memory. And iron? That's what helps carry oxygen to the brain. Without enough of it, kids can feel foggy, tired, and even irritable. I remember my daughter once saying her son was just off for a few days, tired, cranky, couldn't focus. A quick check at the doctor showed he was low in iron. Just a small thing, but it made a big impact once they added more iron-rich foods into his diet. Leafy greens were one of the easiest ways to start. Now, I won't pretend it's always easy to get a 6-year-old excited about a plate of spinach. But there are tricks. Blend greens into smoothies where the flavor gets hidden by banana or berries. Add chopped spinach into spaghetti sauce or scrambled eggs. You can even bake kale chips with a little olive oil and sea salt. They come out crunchy and surprisingly snack-worthy. It's all about introducing these foods in a way that doesn't feel like a chore. Because when food becomes a battle, nobody wins. But when it becomes an experience, something fun, something they help with, or even something they just see you eating, it starts to stick. And that brings me to something important. Whether you're a parent, a grandparent, or a caregiver, kids notice what you eat. If they see you enjoying a bowl of oats or snacking on blueberries or making a green smoothie in the morning, it plants a seed. They may not jump in right away, but they're watching. And often, they follow your lead more than you realize. You have more influence than you think, just by being present, by caring, and by making small changes that ripple through their lives in quiet but powerful ways. And the best part is, many of these foods are just as good for you as they are for them. So it's a win-win. Now that we've talked about eggs, berries, oats, and leafy greens, you're probably already seeing how simple it can be to support your child or grandchild's brain development, just by making a few thoughtful food choices. It doesn't require big changes or fancy supplements. Just real, wholesome foods that have stood the test of time. There's one more food I want to talk to you about, one that might surprise you, but it plays a huge role in helping children's brains grow strong, stay focused, and adapt to new challenges as they learn and explore the world around them. And now, let's talk about one more food, one that's sometimes misunderstood but so incredibly important for brain development in children. I'm talking about fatty fish, like salmon. Now, if you're like me, you probably grew up on canned tuna sandwiches and the occasional fish stick, and we didn't think too much of it. But the truth is, certain types of fish are absolute gold for the growing brain. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are full of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA and EPA, which are key building blocks for the brain. These little nutrients help improve memory, support learning, and even play a role in mood and emotional development. And it's not just theory. Study after study has shown that kids who get enough omega-3s tend to do better in school, have fewer behavioral challenges, and even sleep more soundly. That's no small thing when you're raising little ones with busy schedules, short attention spans, and big feelings. But let's be honest, not every kid is jumping up and down for a piece of grilled salmon. Some are adventurous eaters, sure, but others? Not so much. And that's okay. There are gentle ways to introduce it. Try salmon patties or fish tacos with fun toppings. You can even mix flaked salmon into pasta or casseroles where it's familiar and comforting. The goal isn't to force it, it's to make it feel normal. Like something that belongs on the plate, not some big, scary health food. And here's something worth mentioning. If fish isn't always an option in your household, maybe because of allergies, dietary preferences, or just plain pickiness, there are other ways to get those brain-loving omega-3s. Flaxseed, chia seeds, and walnuts are plant-based sources that are easy to blend into smoothies, stir into oatmeal, or bake into muffins. It's all about little swaps that add up. What I love most about this approach is that you're not just nourishing your grandchild's body, you're building their future. You're helping them feel more focused, more balanced, more equipped to handle the world around them. And that's something no tablet, toy, or tutoring session can replace. Food has this quiet power, this way of shaping us from the inside out, and when we tap into it, even just a little, it can make a world of difference. Now, you might be wondering, does all this really matter? One egg here, a few berries there, some greens tucked into dinner, can that really impact a child's brain? And my answer is, yes. Not because any one food is magic, but because of the message behind it. The message that says, I care about you. I want to give you the best I can. Kids feel that, even if they don't say it. They may not realize how much love goes into that bowl of oatmeal or that smoothie with hidden spinach, but they absorb it. Every bite is a little act of care. And here's something else I want you to remember. It's not just what you feed them, it's the experience around the food that matters. Sitting together at the table, telling stories while cooking, laughing through a messy baking session, those moments matter just as much as the nutrients. In fact, they help kids feel safe, grounded, and loved. And when a child feels emotionally secure, their brain thrives. Food and connection go hand in hand. Sometimes, the simplest things are the most powerful. A shared breakfast. A special Sunday dinner. Letting your grandchild help stir the pot or pick out a recipe. These are the things they'll remember. Not just that you gave them fish or berries, but that you showed up. That you were there. That you made them feel important. And let's not forget, you're not just shaping their bodies or minds. You're shaping their habits. Their relationship with food, with health, with family. What they see you do now, the way you talk about food, the joy you bring into it, it's planting seeds that will grow for decades to come. And that's a gift that lasts far longer than any snack in a wrapper. So as we bring this conversation to a close, let's take a moment to remember what we've talked about. Not in a checklist kind of way, but in a heartfelt one. The power of eggs, berries, oats, leafy greens, and fatty fish. The way these everyday foods can do extraordinary things when it comes to building strong, healthy, thriving brains in the children we love. But more than that, let's remember this, your presence, your care, your effort, it all matters. Every meal you make, every new food you introduce, every loving choice, you're making a difference. You might not see it right away. You might not hear a thank you. But you're building something bigger than you know. So if you found something helpful in today's video, I hope you'll take a moment to leave a comment below. Tell me, what's one brain-healthy food you're excited to try with your grandchild? Or maybe share a favorite memory from cooking with the kids in your life. I'd love to hear from you, and so would others in this beautiful community we're building. And if this kind of content speaks to your heart, Be sure to give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. We've got so many more uplifting, practical, and heartfelt conversations ahead, and I'd love to have you along for the journey. Because here's the truth, age doesn't slow you down, it just gives you more wisdom to share. And the love you pour into those little ones? It echoes in ways you may never fully see. But trust me, it matters. Here's to feeding both bodies and hearts. And here's to living your best life at any age.